And so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the West Coast offense. As always, I'm Lucas Stackpole, joined by Bob Hauk, Bob from Philly, and Peter Papalardo. The team under the microscope today, the Los Angeles Angels. And there's no real sugarcoating it. The Angels season, I'm not going to say it's a wash because it's early June, but the Angels come into today at 28 and 42. They're 8.5 games back of first place in the American League West. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games, which is respectable, and they are a respectable 4-3 since our last show. They are currently tied with Kansas City and San Francisco for the second worst record in all of Major League Baseball, which is unfortunate, but they could be the Colorado Rockies. So at least there's that.
October is not real.
Dang it, man.
Yeah, Rocktober was fun for like 2 weeks, and then the Rockies started playing like the Rockies again. But, one can dream. And so the Angels are in the midst of a three-game set with the Tampa Bay Rays. They did pick up a win last night, 4-3. A cool tidbit from that game that didn't really have anything to do with the game is that Artemis 2 pilot Victor Glover Jr. threw out the ceremonial first pitch to Mike Trout. So an astronaut throwing out a first pitch to Mike Trout, I mean, that's just awesome and totally worth mentioning, even if it's not really baseball related. I just thought that was pretty cool.
What's Mike Trout taking?
Yeah, Mike Trout hits the ceremonial first pitch, 450 feet.
Please do. I love
Did
I
Trout
love
get hurt?
first. Did he get hurt in the first pitch? Can you imagine, bro? I'm crying. I don't mean to be that obnoxious ass guy that's like, yeah, I went abroad, but like in Korea, when I saw a game there, they swing at literally everything on the first pitch. Like the guy that has to stand out there will swing at anything, even if it's thrown behind the backstop. So I was just curious as to if
Would you
Mike
have a
Trout's like a
batter
hack
for
or
the
not.
first pitch?
Yeah, you're telling me that in Korea they actually have a guy like swinging at the
Yes,
ceremonial
Literally,
first
they'll
pitch.
have a guy stand there and he swings at wherever the ball ends up.
that's
What
fire.
happens? That's awesome.
Yeah, like even if it got rolled to home plate, they'll still swing. It's really
Do they
funny.
like? Do they
So what
like
happens if it's
deliberately?
tank?
Now I'm curious. Do they deliberately like swing and miss, or is this guy
Yes,
like
yes.
trying to
No,
hit it out?
they're not actually trying to hit it. They'll just stand there and swing and miss on
Okay.
purpose. That'd be so funny. As a poor kid
I
like
want to see somebody
tossing a
tank like a little
yeah,
kid throws out the first pitch and it just gets tanked.
kids chucking like 20 miles an hour and just taking a daddy hack
Yasiel
off it.
Puig just takes him in the eye.
I'm Puig launches.
I would.
I'm
Eduardo
dead.
Rodriguez throws the glove down. That would be hilarious.
I'm dead.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, so bringing it back into Angels baseball, the Angels are coming off a series win versus the Houston Astros. That series was earlier this week from June 8th to June 10th. So Monday, June 8th, the Angels, that was the game they lost. They lost on Monday night 5-4, but Trey Mancini, I mean, that story is just incredible. Trey Mancini and his return to Major League Baseball went 3 for 4 with an RBI single, his first Major League Baseball game in 1,043 days, which in simpler terms, 2 years, 313 days. And before we get into logistics, I mean, that in itself is incredibly impressive.
Simply
I
sensational.
mean, nothing but respect for Trey, and that's really cool. Coming back and he gets to go 3 for 4. That is really cool. So that's basically 3 years worth of time he was away from baseball, give or take. That is insane, and he just came back and it's really cool to see that kind of a thing.
It's absolutely incredible. And of course, everybody knows at least the first part of the Trey Mancini story. He was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2020. He missed that entire season. And then the very next year, 2021, he won Comeback Player of the Year in the American League. He hit 21 home runs in 147 games. He was traded to Houston at the trade deadline in 2022. He is a World Series champion. He won a World Series with that Astros team. He signed with the Cubs before 2023, but was cut in August of that season. And when he was cut in August 2023, that was his last major league appearance before Monday. And a quote from Trey Mancini: "It was just fun to be back out there. Something where I tried to take it all in, but I definitely exhaled a little after the first hit. You want to get that out of the way. And it's the same emotions you go through when you debut, when it's been that long of a layoff. It was just great to be back out there and something I definitely don't and won't take for granted." And again, I mean, Trey Mancini is one of the most likable dudes in baseball, one of the best stories in baseball. I have nothing but respect for him. And I mean, I'm just going to keep beating that dead horse. I mean, that is absolutely incredible what he's been able to do.
That fires me up, man. That is so good. And I love how excited the broadcast booth was when he got that RBI single. They were like yelling at the base runner to round third and go score, which I thought was awesome.
And so, I mean, just more logistics from that Trey Mancini story, because again, this is arguably the best baseball or best story in baseball this year. So he signed after that 2023 stint with the Cubs. He signed respective minor league contracts with the Reds and the Marlins in 2023 and then 2024. After being cut from the Marlins in 2024, he seriously considered retirement. And then former major leaguer Brady Anderson, a close friend of Trey Mancini's in the Orioles days, texted him ahead of 2025, encouraging him to sign a minor league contract with the Diamondbacks. He did not make the major league roster for the Diamondbacks, but he played well enough in AAA to stick around. The Angels picked up his contract. And then the Angels hired Brady Anderson as a hitting coach ahead of this season. And then the Angels signed Trey Mancini at the suggestion of Brady Anderson. And of course, now that paid off, obviously going 3 for 4 Monday night, that RBI single, that is phenomenal.
How can you not be romantic about baseball?
That's the perfect quote. How can you not be romantic about baseball?
Man, that's
It's
just
really cool that you
sensational.
got to come. It's really cool that you got to come back with this team too. I gotta say, looking at the Angels roster this year, it's one of the most interesting looking rosters I think I've seen in a long time. It just has a bunch of names of guys I forgot that were in the league or were guys that I didn't even know were on the Angels. Like Jose Siri, bro. Like if you told me before this season if you asked me where Jose Siri was, I would have said in the minors or gone. I don't know. I think their roster's really interesting, and this is a really cool story for them. And congrats to Trey Mancini. I have a ton of respect for him. That's really cool.
I remember that being one of our talking points in the Angels shows we did during the offseason about how this Angels roster was just interesting. That was really the only term we came up to describe it. And I thought it would be high risk, high reward. Obviously, I mean, on a technicality, it still was high risk, high reward. It just hasn't really paid off. So bringing it back into that Trey Mancini discussion when talking about Brady Anderson, it's incredible. Mancini said, Anderson's the one that got me back into baseball. He sent me a text a couple of years ago and told me he thought I should still play and give it another shot. I can't believe that we're working together now. It's just crazy how life works sometimes. And I mean, Bob, you said it best. How can you not be romantic about baseball?
That's just phenomenal. I mean, wow. 1,000 days off, come back, get 3 knocks, get a ribby. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Like, I hope there's a book about this at some point in the future because that's impressive stuff.
There might be a movie about this. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, beat cancer, comeback player of the year the next year, World Series champion the year after that, out of the league for 3 years, and then come back and make an immediate impact. I mean, that's a Hollywood movie, fellas.
It really is. I think we should bring that script to producers.
I mean,
And we should
definitely
make it.
Let's the Trey Mancini biopic. Let's get on it.
We should
Bang.
produce a movie.
Yes, we should. It's the new meta, man.
And so
Yo-
it
young
is
people are in
biopics.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, Kane Parsons is younger than all of us, right? The
Yeah, he's
backwards
20.
guy. And so Mancini is expected to back up Nolan Shanuel, though Nolan Shanuel at the moment is day to day. So Trey Mancini will get some consistent major league action for the Angels, at least until Shanuel is deemed fit to return. And so on Tuesday, the offense woke up and they just beat up on the Astros, which a lot of teams like to do. I mean, beating up on the Astros, I'm sure, has been popular ever since 2017. The Angels won on Tuesday. The final score of that ball game was 10-1. The Angels got out to a 2-0 lead in the first inning and then scored 5 in the bottom of the second, an offensive explosion. Wade Meckler and Joe Adell both hit 2-run doubles in the second inning. Meckler is 1 for 2 with a 2 RBI double, 3 walks, 3 runs. Joe Adell went 2 for 4, 2 RBIs on that same double, a walk and a run. And I mean, there's not really too much you can say about a 10-1 win. I mean, that's just good stuff from the offense all around.
Yeah, Wade Meckler's doing his best Kevin Youkilis impression, drawing
Greek
walks.
god of walks. He gets on base.
Gets on
Speaking of
base.
Moneyball.
Why do we want him?
It's
So
always
he-
nice to beat the Astros too. Sorry. Well, it's always nice to beat the Astros.
Always nice.
Do you think they're still the most hated team in baseball?
Close to it.
I think so. I mean, I've thought about it because people don't forget. I mean, Altuve and Carlos Correa, is Lance McCullers is still there. So there's only 3
Springer.
guys.
Well,
No, I'm
I see
saying
posts
still on
about
the
even
team.
posts about Springer. They still mention like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like I see posts about the Astros. They still mention like it's never like been like stopped. Like nobody's ever just stopped talking about it. and for fair reason. They were cheating. So
100%. I mean, that's never going to go away, I don't think. And so the Angels got up to a 7-0 lead in the first two innings, and they cruised the rest of the game. They scored another 3 runs in the bottom of the eighth. Our boy Trey Mancini tacked on a sacrifice fly in that bottom of the eighth, and the Angels win it on Tuesday by a score of 10-1. And Walbert Urania of the Angels actually shoved that game too. 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, but 5 walks. So, I mean, I do want to focus on that for a little bit. I mean, I know the most important part of pitching is damage control, and Urania, no earned runs, did that just fine. But 5 walks does raise a little bit of a question mark.
yeah, definitely not pretty. But hey, whoever gets the job done, 0 earned runs is all that really matters at the end of the day. Ideally, 0 runs in general. I don't know if it was 0 earned, but there were unearned runs. But or either way, I mean, overall good performance. Can always clean up on walks. A lot of guys have walk issues in the league. That's pretty normal. And Walbert is one of the most interesting names I've heard in my life.
I was going to say, yeah,
You like
Walbert
that,
Urania is a great baseball name.
Walbert.
So, I mean, 5 scoreless innings despite the 5 walks. And I would argue, or I mean, I don't even think this is really much of an argument, but the ability to get yourself out of jams and the ability to get yourself out of jams you created, I would argue is more important than control. I mean, obviously you need control, but if you're going to walk 5 guys, if you're going to have a guy you know is going to walk 5 guys, you want it to be a guy who you know can get himself out of that situation. And Walbert Urania did a great job of that on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's not even a teachable skill either. Is getting yourself out of tough situations. That's almost more of a mental thing for a pitcher, and it's hard to teach a guy that. So it's always good when you have a guy who can fight their way out of a bad spot.
Can't teach grit, man. I do love it. Urania on a
100%.
2.44 ERA as well through 55 innings pitched. Not a bad rotational piece here, 4-2. One of the better pitchers on their rotation at the moment.
And the Angels pitching rotation, I don't want to say I mean, saying they've been good might be a bit of a stretch, but they've definitely had some guys. I mean, you mentioned Walbert Urania with a 2.44 in 55 innings. That is impressive. Jose Soriano had an absolutely absurd start to the season. He's cooled off, but that start to the year you can't ignore. And then Reed Detmers, we'll talk about him here in a second. I mean, Detmers has been on a ridiculous hot streak lately. His last couple of starts have been really good. Had a big start on Sunday Night Baseball. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But it's hard because, I mean, we go back to this discussion about the Angels having one of the more interesting rosters in Major League Baseball, comprised of guys. I mean, Pete, not the replacements, but guys you might not have thought about in a while. I mean, it's Mike Trout and friends for all intents and purposes. But
The other
a
Angels.
lot of these guys, the other Angels, yeah, exactly. But I mean, a lot of these guys are good. A lot of these guys have been good. A lot of these guys are a flash in the pan, which is, I think, the most difficult thing for the Angels is, I mean, you look at the roster, they have names, they have names that were good, are good, or were good at one point in time. And you're like, this team, I mean, I feel like it's fair to say this team should be a little better than 14 games under 500.
They certainly have the ability to do that. I think that was a lot of what we talked about in the preseason, that it's a very odd looking construction of a team. So I think we said in summary, I think we said they could be really good and they could be really bad. There's definitely a lot of boom or bust potential with this squadron. We've seen games where they can go out and win a 1-1 ball game and rob 3 home runs, and then we've also seen games where fly balls can bounce off our right fielder's head and go over the wall. So what are we doing?
And I mean, the Astros discussion we just had, because obviously the Angels played Houston in this 3-game series. We'll talk about the last game here in a second. But just on the subject of baseball fans don't forget. I mean, obviously the Astros cheating scandal, but the big theme of our Angels offseason show is Artie Moreno saying that Angels fans don't care about winning, which is absolutely not true. But now that, fans are in the stands, now that obviously, I mean, we're in the month of June now, so people have been going to games for spring and summer for Angels guys. And there's always a sell the team chant. I mean, I know you guys have seen the videos of the tarp off sections. It always just reverts back to sell the team. And I mean, obviously, I know Arte Moreno's not on the field. The Angels do spend money in the offseason. They have historically, they just put it in the wrong areas. But, part of me wonders how much of this is on the ownership.
All of it. I'm
Gotta be
sorry.
some parts on them.
It's hard. It's hard to not blame Artie Moreno for everything. It's or at least for a majority of the situation. I just feel like he's not helping his own case with the way he talks about this team and the way he basically puts words in the fans' mouths, words that I never thought um, any fan base felt that winning's not a top five. I don't think there's a single sports fan base in the world that thinks winning is not a top five priority, unless there's a fan base for like a 10U like girls soccer team or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think there's no quicker way to
Bob,
like
go ahead.
make your customers and fans more angry than just like using the hot phrases like "you guys asked for this" and stuff like that, or trying to speak for them. Like, it's a little bit off topic, but I know recently I just watched that Madden thing they just recently did, where they actually did like a whole presentation video sort of thing, like live stream, and like every other sentence, the devs were like, "You guys asked for this. Here's our new features," and it's like no one asked for this. This is just making us more angry that your product sucks. So I think it's along the same lines. So they're like, yeah, the folks at Anaheim, we really don't care about winning, but they love a safe stadium experience. That's what we're really looking for, guys. We don't have to make playoffs.
Well, I think that's the biggest pet peeve for Angels fans. I mean, Pete, kind of like what you said about there's not a single across the four major sports, across even international sports. I mean, like the World Cup going on. I mean, winning, there's none of them are going to say winning's not in their top five. But I mean, I go as far to say none of them are going to say that nothing is more important to them than winning. I mean, you want your favorite team to win. You want your favorite team to do well. And Bob, to your point, I mean, it's a pet peeve of anybody to have somebody speak on their behalf. And that situation becomes 10 times worse when people are speaking on your behalf and they're also wrong about it. Like Artie Moreno to say Angels fans don't care about winning, safety's the biggest priority. I mean, not only is that not true, I mean, not only is that not true, you didn't consult any of your fans. I mean, remember that was based on a survey that they refused to release the participants of. So nobody really knows where those numbers even came from.
God, it had to have just been like a super quick like tasting menu that they had in one of their press boxes with all the VPs. Like there's no way it was actual real fans they asked. They probably just asked a couple like interns in the office or something, or a couple like people in the front office. They're like, yo, what do you think about this? And they like didn't describe what the actual like question was or something. Like there's just
They told all the interns, you get you're fired if you don't put winning below third on your list.
yeah.
Fan important.
Do you want to get hired full
You're
time
fired.
for next season? So you're gonna answer this survey how you want us to.
You want a job
My,
here?
my guess is they just asked Artie Moreno, and then Artie Moreno came back in several different disguises. He comes back in glasses
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
mustache and it says, "Yeah,
He did
fans
like,
don't care about winning."
and then he left. He
And he
pulled
came,
back up with a cowboy hat on, like a fake
yeah,
mustache.
yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh. Art Moreno was sitting there with
But
fake emails on the Google form. Like Angel fan 325 at gmail.com says.
He was sitting there just making new Gmail accounts. Like, he
just
didn't
sitting there
fill it
with
out.
burner emails talking about safety.
Artie Moreno's number one fan at gmail.com says Angels fans love a safe stadium. And before we move into Wednesday's game, and now that we're just kind of on this talk about Artie Moreno, because it always comes back to Artie Moreno. I mean, do you think, like, because obviously in spring training, players were asked about it. They said, yeah, we took notice. I don't think they explicitly said we took exception to that, but it was it was implied. But now I'm wondering how much do you think that had a real impact on the Angel season? I mean, you have the owner, the guy who was running the whole thing. Say the fans don't care about winning. Winning's not even in the top five. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna pretend the Angels were World Series favorites going into this year. But I mean, that's kind of dooming your ship before it even sets sail. I mean, that sets the tone for your season in March. So I mean, I don't know if I'm reading too deep into that, or if you guys or if you guys agree with me.
You know, I don't believe that it like directly affects the players, but at the same time, having that kind of culture around your team can indirectly really affect your players, and it's just frustrating for everybody involved with the situation, the fans, for the players, because you just feel it's a like a lack of confidence from the guy that owns your franchise. It's like It's like if the CEO of a company that you work for just has no faith in you guys turning a profit. Like it's kind of just disrespectful, and it can get to a player's head, I'm sure.
100%. And so ringing it back in to that series versus Houston on Wednesday, the Angels win it 3-2 in 10 innings on a walk-off from Jose Siri. Mike Trout hit a solo home run in the bottom of the first, his 15th home run this season already. And the batting average isn't there, but Mike Trout, the power numbers are definitely there. So Mike Trout this season, a slash line of 225, 394, 451, an OPS of 845, and a 2.3 WAR. So I mean, the batting average pretty unassuming, but you look at the rest of the numbers, and this might be vintage Mike Trout.
That OPS is crazy with that batting average, I gotta say. That's like Joey Gallo numbers, kind of.
So I mean, the power is there. I mean, again, 15 home runs, and it's June. Mike Trout has been, knock on wood, he's been healthy for all of this season, and when he's on the field, Mike Trout is always going to do Mike Trout things.
Love Mike Trout cooking. I don't mean to open a can of worms, but do we think there's a reality where Mike Trout's getting traded this year?
I was actually going to ask that too after this. I mean, it's fun to talk about, it's fun to pretend, but I mean, realistically, I just can't see a team taking on that contract. I mean, the Angels have to shoulder some of the money, and the Shohei Ohtani dilemma always comes up because remember he was an Angel for a long time. 2023, when it was pretty apparent the Angels weren't going to re-sign him, the Angels held on to him anyway, and then that obviously came back to bite him. And I can see it going one of two ways. I can see the Angels falling for the same thing again. I mean, they just hang on to Mike Trout. Mike Trout continues to do Mike Trout things, but the rest of the team obviously isn't quite there. Or, maybe Artie Moreno and the front office finally learns from their mistakes. And, hey, Mike Trout's the franchise guy. He's done his time with us. He's been with us for 15, 16 seasons now. Trade him away, give him a chance to win, trade him wherever he wants to go, give your franchise guy a chance to win because frankly, the Angels owe it to him. And it's Mike Trout at the end of the day. I mean, even if he's not who he was in like 2019, I mean, it's still Mike Trout. People are going to come see Mike Trout. And as evidenced by his power numbers this year, I mean, he's still very much capable of producing.
I mean, including this year, he has 5 years left on his deal. Like you said, it's a big contract. I personally don't see anybody wanting to take it on until like maybe if he's still producing the way he is right now, 3, 4 years down the line when it's like a 1 or 2 year contract left, I could see somebody making a trade for him. But overall, I don't think any team's gonna want to make a trade for him with I think 5 years left on the deal. It's kind of a question mark how much longer he has because of all his injuries throughout his career. And I would love to see him go somewhere where he can win because I don't think the Angels are going to win anytime soon. But I don't see him getting moved anytime soon. At least not within the next few years.
And what I would do if I were running the Angels, I mean, Mike Trout is 34. He's turning 35 in August. He's no longer, I think it's fair to say he's no longer a guy you can build around, quote unquote, but he's still definitely good enough to shoulder some of the load on offense. I mean, again, he's a 2.3 WAR player this year, 15 home runs, an OPS of 845 with a batting average of 225. I mean, he still has the juice. So even though you can't really build around him anymore per se, you can definitely get a few guys, give him a nice solid supporting cast. Because I mean, baseball is the one sport where one guy can carry a team. Mike Trout, I think, knows that better than anybody. But he's still good enough to be a competent bat in your lineup. I think you have, let's say, 2, 3 more good years of Mike Trout producing if he stays healthy. I mean, that's still Mike Trout. If you can get a competent lineup around him, I mean, I think good things will happen. I mean, obviously, the Angels fans have been saying this for 15 years. I mean, this isn't a new take, but I still think it's applicable.
I think
And
the
so,
fact that it's just simply Mike Trout could be very intriguing. I think for so long we've been used to the fact that he solo carries the Angels is kind of just like, he's Mike Trout. But to conclude before I accidentally cut you off there, I think it could be really intriguing if he ends up getting traded to like a contender or something. Like even though he is Mike Trout, I think it could be a really intriguing scenario if he got traded as a piece to go help a team go make a playoff run. Like, yeah, stick him in, like the
Another,
3-4 hole, just let him rock out on a really good team already, you know?
another thing about that, real quick. Sorry, Seth. Just kind of like it's kind of a question mark. I wonder if, say, he does end up say he ends up asking for a trade because he wants to end up on Contender. I wonder if he's gonna get the same treatment that you remember how when Damian Lillard was on the Trailblazers for a long period of time and he was
Right.
just not, they weren't winning anything, and the fans kept on saying he needs to request a trade and get out of there and go somewhere where he can win, and then he went to the Bucks, I believe, correct, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. And the second he went to the Bucks, I couldn't believe all the comments I was reading of people calling him like a snake and like saying that he was just a ring chaser. I'm like, fans were begging him to do this for almost a decade, and then he does it, and then people are going to start complaining about it. I wonder if Trout would get similar backlash. I would hate if he did because Trout's a great dude, great player, obviously one of the best of our generation. Unfortunately, injuries kind of held him back, but it just, I wonder if the fans would give him a hard time if he did end up
I
like asking to move.
I can't imagine they would. And Bob, I mean, your point about trading Mike Trout to a contender, it makes me think of Raymond Bork. I mean, NHL legend. He played for my Boston Bruins for a long, long time. Didn't win anything. And then they traded him to Colorado as, I don't want to say a favor, but Colorado at the time was a powerhouse. Hey, you're going to Colorado, go win a Stanley Cup because we couldn't get you one. And if the Angels do end up trading Mike Trout, I feel like it's going to be that Raymond Bork type situation. Hey, we're going to trade you. We're going to trade you to a contender. Go win a championship.
Could certainly see that. I think the only way the trader or like Kevin Durant tagline would be stowed upon him would be if he went to the Dodgers. I think that's literally the only team where that would happen.
Yeah.
That would be
I mean,
messed up
even
though, because and also he would have to get traded to there. So if the Angels are dumb enough to trade him to the crosstown rivals, they'd be pretty dumb, I gotta say.
I think in Mike Trout's tenure in Anaheim, he has had nothing but love for Anaheim. So in this world where he does get traded, in this world where he even asks for a trade, I think a lot of Angels fans wouldn't be mad. Again, I think it falls back to that Raymond Bork thing. Hey, you did everything you could for us. Now go win.
Oh,
Good point.
I think Anaheim would love him. I think Anaheim would treat him great. I'm just talking about like the overall like general. Like I remember, I always thought like people were like, we wouldn't blame Damian Lillard if he let. I know I keep on using Damian Lillard as example, but is the best example I have. It's just like they were like, we wouldn't blame him if he left, blah 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 blah. And then the second he leaves, everybody's giving him crap for it. So I don't think Trout would ever deserve it. I think he has a little bit more respect around the league than Damian Lillard did in the NBA. But I just I do hope he wins one way or another, whether it's by some miracle on the Angels or somewhere else. I just hope he wins because he deserves it more than probably anybody in the league right now.
I think it's definitely
100%.
I think it's the rapport he's built as a player. Like it reminds me kind of how back when Barcelona were like prime, making a soccer analogy here, people were calling Neymar a snake and they were hating on him for leaving for Paris Saint-Germain. But then when Messi did it like 2 years later, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like we love you. Like this is your house. You built this. Like this is a rite of passage. You're okay to go leave. Like go do whatever, man. Like you're just moving on with your career." So it's like I think it just depends on the person. And for Mike Trout, I think people would be heartbroken to see him go, but it's also like, you guys have given him nothing for a 15 plus year career. So it's like, you know, I don't know how much you could hate on him if he ended up actually leaving.
And he would be loved in Anaheim regardless. And I think if I'm Mike Trout, I don't public opinion doesn't bother me at all. But if I'm Mike Trout, as long as I leave on good terms with Angels fans, whatever anybody else says, goes through one ear and out the other. And
Thousand
so
percent.
bringing it back into that Wednesday night walk-off, just that talking point this whole thing started with, Mike Trout hit a home run. Logan O'Hoppe homered in the bottom of the fifth, his third of the season. And then Reed Detmers, of course, we mentioned him earlier in the episode. He continues his recent hot streak. May 24th versus the Rangers. Pete, the episode we did last week, we touched on that, but he was money that game. 8 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run, no walks, 14 strikeouts. June 5th at the Dodgers, at Dodger Stadium. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs against the best lineup in baseball, arguably the best lineup of all time, 6 punchouts. And then Wednesday night versus Houston, June 10th, 7 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 earned run, no walks, 9 strikeouts. And it is worth mentioning that he retired the first 15 batters of the game before giving up a solo home run to Shea Whitcomb to open the 6th inning. But Whitcomb was the only batter to reach base versus Detmers. He was the only guy to record a hit off of Detmers. It just happened to be a solo home run. But I mean, the Dodgers start and the Astros starts. His last two starts, he's been nails. And then you throw it even further back to that Rangers start over the last 3 weeks. He has been really good.
This is
Locked
an
in.
absolutely insane run. That's an insane run. Almost 30 strikeouts within within 3 starts and only 2 runs. We already knew he had this in him. I mean, since obviously literally his debut, we knew he had this in him. It's just a matter of, can he keep this consistency? Can he keep this with any consistency? And it would be really nice to see, because I've been rooting for him for a long time, and I'd love to see him just finally blossom.
I mean, Pete, you touched on it. That no hitter his rookie year. I mean, we've known he's had this in him the whole way. And I'm not going to say he's all the way back because 3 starts is a small sample size, but of his recent starts, 3 of them have been really, really, really good. And that's, I mean, no matter which way you slice it, no matter which way you look at it, that is optimistic. That is awesome.
Sensational. I'd be intrigued to see what the second half of the season will look like after the All-Star break if him and the rest of the crew all lock in. Like, to this extent, this is a team that could win a lot more games than what they've won.
And definitely. And I mean, at 14 games under 500 going into this episode, they are could be much more than 8.5 games out of first place. I mean, we cover the Mets. They're not as bad as the Angels. They're 15.5 games out of first place. So I'm not going to say the AL West is wide open. I mean, the Mariners, I think, are still the favorites. The A's have looked good. The Astros and Rangers are perennial threats. But I mean, 14 games under 500 could be a lot worse than 8.5 games out. So I mean, we'll see if this team can put one foot in front of the other. I'm not going to say they will, but given how this season has gone for the Angels, they could be in a much worse spot. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for today's episode. As always, I'm Lucas Stackpole, joined by Peter Papalardo and Bob Hauk, Bob from Philly. Thank you, as always, for listening, and we will see you for the next one.